Things Black with Garland and Calvin. I'm Calvin. That guy is Garland. And of course, we're here to do our weekly segment on This Is Us and get you ready for tonight's episode of Snowfall. How things going, Garland?
Things are well. I can't complain for a overcast day. It's just good to be alive, man. Just we making it in this world, man. What about you?
I'm good, man. I good. Like I told you earlier, Garland commented on my shirt, which is fine, but I was trying to unbutton it because I don't usually keep my shirts buttoned up, but my collar ain't collaring, and every time I open it up, it just droops down. Like I need some starch or something to it. And I didn't want y'all to talk about me too bad, so I was like, let me just button this joint up today. So, but I'm usually not this snazzy. Garland is usually the snazzy dude over here.
I'm
I'm
coming
just
from work.
kind of hanging around. Garland is the classic hip hop style. I'm kind of like the grunge music band style. I'm the Kurt Cobain of the joint, Nirvana of the joint.
we getting the Calvin's expertise with these white groups, so don't play.
I mean,
Don't
don't
let us
get me
start talking about.
started.
Yeah, don't get them started talking about some yacht rock.
Hey, fun fact though, I only know one song by Nirvana, and that's the one everybody knows. Smells Like Teen Spirit. I know who Kurt Cobain is.
Is that the ah, da, 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 da.
Yeah, that's the only one I know. I'm not grunge music wasn't my thing. I was more into the new wave and the pop and the MTV stuff. Grunge
Right.
came along a little bit after me. I was even into the heavy metal with like the Def Leopards and the Quiet Riot. All that MTV stuff. I was into that. I was into that joint.
Right. All I know is police, and I knew a couple of the, Duran, right at the MTV peak and stuff. But and that was from my 2 years at the majority white school, Mount St. Joe, and so I had to know
Okay, okay.
a little bit of something. And then after that, it was all blackenized at Northwestern. They used to talk about me so bad. I had dress pants. I didn't have any jeans because I been to Catholic school all the way through the 10th grade. And so when I get to Northwestern in the 11th grade, I got dress pants. I got shirts with collars. They like, what are you, some prep? You got dimes in your shoes. I had penny loafers. Man, I used to get beat down.
I remember the coins in the shoes of the penny
Yeah.
loafers.
Yeah, I used to have a couple little coins up in the penny loafers and no socks. They're like, where are your socks at? Like,
See, now when I got in high school, was when the button because I went to city and city, we thought we was all class, so I had the
uh-huh.
button downs and my bugle boy kind of. I don't even know if they were called khakis then; they were just called pants. And my bugle boys that were pleated and a little baggy. I had my
Mm-hmm.
little docksiders on. You couldn't tell me nothing then. You couldn't tell me nothing. Hey man, let's get
Yeah,
into these
man.
shows so these people can, go to eat their dinner or whatever it is. I gotta take out the trash, so
There you go.
yeah.
There you go. So we're gonna start with This Is Us this evening, y'all. And so while it's normal for characters in a long-running series to grow and evolve over time, no character has felt that shift more than our boy Toby, whose larger-than-life class clown persona mellowed into a still goofy but much more conventional husband and dad type. And so last night's episode, The Hill, makes the bold choice to literally bring those two versions of Toby into the conversation with one another, as Chris Sullivan, who's the actor that plays Toby, dons his season one fat suit and Hawaiian shirts to represent the old Toby that Kate sometimes imagines in the place of her svelte and career-driven husband. Now it's funny, while they're watching Fight Club, she's watching Fight Club with Madison. Kate admits that she misses the old, or as I call him, Fat Toby, and often imagines being with him. And so we know that Kate, she struggles with this, with her own self-image, her own confidence, and one of the interesting ways, and I wanted to kind of talk about this before we get into the meat of the episode, of this thing of holding people to old ways or old standards, because she is dealing with this new type of Toby, this hip Toby, that's you know, kind of take charge Toby, where the old Toby was just a guy who kind of fed into her insecurities, into her lack of confidence, and just like other family members and all. And so, what did you think about this thing of her, imagining and being connected to Fat Toby?
Well, first of all, clearly that must be why I wore the button down because today we decided to bring Fat Calvin. I mean, Fat Calvin ain't never leave, but that's decided to bring him. And another thing, they had to put that little patch of hair in
Right,
the
and
middle
they
of
put that
Toby's
little
head.
patch in. Go
I
ahead.
don't remember him. I remember him having the little receding peak
Yeah,
thing, but
he
I don't
did. The
remember the
first
little
season,
patch.
he had the little patch. I was like, yo,
they had
Toby
to,
was a mess, yo.
they had to do that to Toby like that. Um, but this is so interesting about Kate and watching her. Sometimes you like Kate, other times you don't like Kate. And I know we're going to get more into the episode, so I don't want to give
Mm-hmm.
away too much of the answer. But I just feel like, and if you notice, when she was imagining Toby, that old Toby that she was with was kind of like not a fan of the new Toby. And it's kind of like, how are you not a fan of yourself when you're growing? So it was strictly from her perspective because every time he showed up, he was kind of like, this guy, why would he
Right.
act like that? Why would he treat you like that? But I think, Kate is one that I don't know. She just there's something off with her. She doesn't. She has these dreams, but she seems to sabotage herself, and it's not sabotage in the way you would think of it, like doing things that are just not congruent to living a good life. It's just sabotage where she doesn't want anything to change unless she changes it.
Right.
And it nothing. It explained it more like when she was holding on to Jack in the pool, and Jack was like, let go, and she was like, why would I?
Right. 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 She's always been this clink, even when they were stuck in the pool as teens, and they're trying to get her over the fence, and just this, she tried once and then she quits. She's
Yeah.
always been coddled or not challenged or even challenged herself to step out of her own self-imposed boundaries. And so we see that in the episode. And so as Kate and Toby, they're leaving the cabin, she asked Toby, can she join him for a weekend in San Francisco? And a lot of things are revealed during the stay. Now, first of all, Toby, he is already looking forward. Toby is looking towards the future. And so he's been looking at a home that he wants the family to buy and to move into. And so he takes her, shows her this house that he's interested in buying and bringing the family up to San Francisco. But the biggest reveal is this, is that Toby's boss mentions kind of offhandedly that Toby turned down a job offer in Los Angeles to come and stay in San Francisco. And so of course, this sets off Kate because he did not share it with Kate, and it culminates in a brutally realistic 6-minute argument. And during the argument, Kate reveals that, she imagines being with Fat Toby, and, how it just seems like their lives are going in two different directions. And, even Toby sharing that, this guy that you are imagining and that you are in love with and that makes you feel comfortable, that was a coping mechanism. I was just doing that so I could try to cope. I didn't have any confidence. I didn't have any self-worth. And that person was just a way that I can cope. And so to me, it really spoke to sometimes in life how we don't want people to necessarily evolve and grow, especially if they make us feel comfortable. They kind of get out of zone and they keep going, and sometimes we're stuck. And so, Kate's point was, all right, I want to stay in LA because I'm doing something with my life. And our son, Jack, he's getting used to the home, and all of those things. He's got cousins there, and Toby saying, this is where our future is. You have to come here with us. I miss my family. I want to do these particular things. And so, did you think Kate was being fair? Do you think that she should give up her successes and her comfort in LA to go with Toby, or do you think she just kind of self sabotaging?
So it's funny. So all throughout the episode, it seemed like Kate was being kind of a Debbie Downer, but she just wanted what she wanted. And when they went to the house, you would think that, hey, Toby put in all this effort, even if you don't want the house. Why is it just like a no? Like, why isn't it, hey, let's look for another house? I might not like this house. I know you want to move the family. But then we see the real reason that's going on. And I kind of blame Toby because it's great that Toby has grown, that he's found himself, that he feels important, and everyone wants that. But as a when you're in a relationship and especially a marriage, when you grow, you have to grow with your partner. And the part that Toby was missing is that he grew, but he didn't grow with Kate. Now, is that because they're apart? Is that because he's concentrating too much on himself? And he talked about how he was possibly going to commit suicide, or would have committed suicide, but you have to grow with your partner. So I understand how Kate feels like, man, you're just this big shot now, but you left the family behind and I'm taking care of the kids. And, I have a life also. Why can't you respect that? You have to grow with your partner because if you grow by yourself, you might as well be by yourself. And that's exactly what seems to be happening. He didn't grow with her. She doesn't really understand his desires and his wants, and vice versa. He doesn't understand her desires and what makes her feel good. So we already know that they're not going to be together at the end. So
Right.
maybe this clearly is why. So I don't know if she's wrong. And I don't know if he's wrong, but what I do know is that they did not grow together. And because it seems like Toby had the most growth, I would have put it on him to reach back or to bring her along. And the one thing you can't do, you cannot let anyone that you love hear something from someone else that you should have told them. There's no reason for Toby not to have said, yeah, they offered me a job in LA, but I'm not going to take it because the money, because I'm more important here. Whatever the reason, you have to bring that up to your wife. There's
Hmm.
no reason for her to find that out secondhand.
Yeah, and maybe it's the thing of that he knows that she was going to shoot it down. It just it appears that everything that Toby wants to do or looking at the future and progressing, Kate is just kind of always against. It's the unknowns that she can't get with. And I agree with you. I think in this, talking from personal experience, from young marriage and, growing up together, sometimes feeling like, man, I'm ready to do certain things that my spouse is not ready to do, or to go places and to do things, and realize that, yeah, we have to kind of do that together. And I think that's kind of like the unseen thing, or the thing that we don't necessarily think about in relationships, is growing together. Sometimes that's why you hear couples say all the time, I've outgrown the relationship, or I outgrew that person. But if you're actually communicating, you're growing together. And obviously,
Exactly.
communication, as we can see between Kate and Toby, just is really at a bad end. And, it's kind of wild. We already know what's going to happen in the end. But, just to see it start to, what's starting to get it to that point is definitely kind of shocking. And so when I thought about, the title of the episode, The Hill, it taps into something that feels very truthful about what it's like to classify yourself as the type of person who can't do physically challenging things. And what's it like when you finally push yourself out of your comfort zone and actually do them? And so, as you mentioned, little Kate, she refuses to put her face in the water. 20-year-old Kate claims it's impossible to climb a fence. But 40 something Kate walks up a hill that Toby had previously deemed too difficult for her. I think, and then, she makes the phone call to tell, the staff person who eventually, we're not giving away anything, you saw last season, who becomes her husband, that she wants the opening at the school. And so coming out and trying that new thing seems to kind of like say, hey, you can do it. You know, you want to share a time in your life where you did something that was uncomfortable. I try to do it in exercise. I know if you've been following me on Facebook, you've seen my kind of weight loss journey. I've plateaued sometimes, I've gone up and down. But one of the things that I try to do is I try to do things that I can't do or new things. And so I see some exercises. I'm not trying to do all because, when I look at them, these guys are physically fit hanging from the ceiling doing these sets. But I try to incorporate some new things to challenge myself to, I might think it's impossible, but if I keep on doing it, then I eventually, get to a certain level and all. You ever think of a time in your life where, like, man, I'm going to push past my comfort zone and do something?
Absolutely, man. And I'm gonna tell you, the biggest one right now for me is being a husband. I got married at 45, so for a
Right,
long time, it was
right,
just me. The only person I had to worry about was me, and of course, I had my kids. But having a wife who's dependent on you and having kids are a little different because, of course, the kids are going to depend on you, but the kids are always going to love you and be proud of you. But your wife is looking for certain things from you to lead a household, to lead her. And I'd
mhm,
never had to do that before. Leading a wife is different than leading girlfriends. You lead
right,
girlfriend in the bedroom and then be like, all right, then I'll talk to you another time.
right.
Um, but yeah, so and I still because there are definitely fears and things that I don't struggle with them, but there's still things that I'm like, you know what, no one's going to do this but me. You know what I mean? The responsibility falls on me. I have to protect my home and my family, and it's when you have people to depend on. There are a lot of things you can't do. I have to calm down. I got an attitude problem. I can't be out here fussing and fighting at people
Sure,
because what's gonna happen if I'm gone and my wife is lost?
sure.
Um, so yeah, man, it's a constant. Every day. We've been married going on 5 years now, and it's still every day. There are times where I sit back and say, "Wait a minute, I can't just stop and not do this, or I can't wait. I got to take
Hmm.
care of this. Nobody else is going to take care of it." And waiting could have consequences on my family that are irreversible. And the last thing I want to do is let down my wife and the people that I love and care for.
Fantastic. So overall, man, what were your thoughts about last night's episode?
I actually thought it was one of the better episodes. We've had a couple back to back that weren't the greatest, and Kevin's story
Right,
wasn't really good. But I knew that Kate and Toby's story was going to be pretty decent because we knew they had a conflict that they needed to resolve, and we know an end that's coming. So we wanted to see how that worked out. Um, it gave me different opinions on them because I always liked Toby, but then last week I think we talked about how Toby's kind of a jerk. But I actually liked Toby in this episode, and then I started not liking Kate. Kate said something at the pool where she was like, when I'm just here in Pittsburgh. I'm here. This is what I do. Like, I can't get out of Pittsburgh. Well, it just comes to show, like, Toby offered, let's move to San Fran and have this new life. And she was still just like, it's like Kate can't get out of her own way.
right, right.
And of course, Toby said it, and I saw it. I'm sure a lot of people saw it. When Toby said at the end, it's like your life has gotten better without me. And I mentioned during the episode, she just doesn't want Toby anymore. And again, that's that she's grown into Kate without Toby. So when you're not growing together, you get used to and comfortable growing alone, and somebody coming in and disrupting that, you're just not having it. So yeah, I thought it was a pretty good episode. Got to reveal a lot of character about the both of them. Where because Toby was cheating at one time, we probably all thought he was out there cheating, but Toby was dedicated. All he
Right.
talked about with his coworkers is his wife and his family. He's got plans with the whole family. Like Toby's been out there doing what he's supposed to do. He's just not working and not caring about it. Toby's been setting things up. He made plans. He's talking about she's mentioning, yeah, the our son is blind and he had to know every inch of the house, this and that. He's like, listen, I know he's blind, and we need to be able to afford everything that's going to make his life easier. And I
Right.
can't afford that not doing what I'm doing now. Like, Tony has some big plans, and kudos to both of them, but they just they decided not to grow together, and it's causing a rift, and it's going to be the end of them, of course.
I know we
But
said
good
that
episode.
good episode. I know that we always say Toby is toxic, and he is. He was toxic. He has some toxic characteristics, but and he definitely gaslighted her, on several occasions. But I think that seeing him wanting not to hold on to the past, or stop taking small steps and ready to go ahead and let's take the
Exactly.
leap together, it really is kind of pushing Kate past her boundaries. And when you are cautious throughout life and always just think that I can't, or I won't, or I'll fail, or I can't see how I can succeed, then yeah, eventually it starts to hold your progress back. And if you're in a relationship, it holds the relationship back. And so seeing
Hmm.
that dynamic, I definitely enjoy this part of the trilogy better than Kevin's part. And so that sets us up for next week to see what happens with Randall. Randall just in the pool somewhere. They're not even checking for Randall. We don't know where Randall is. Some black family probably kidnapped Randall and took him down to DC that to have some mumbo sauce at Ben's Chili Bowl or something, and they're gonna bring him back and drop him off in the pool because he
Well, we
waved, and then they just like, okay,
Yeah, remember when the earlier seasons when
yeah,
Randall
he
went to the
got
pool,
lost at the
that's
pool.
where he
Yeah,
met his black friends and the
right.
black lady that was like, he needs to come and hang with us sometime. So maybe he's out with his black friends, and it's good for Randall.
Right.
But you definitely see the difference between the three of them. I talked about Kevin being coddled last week for not doing anything. He's getting prizes. Kate has been coddled too because they never have
Yeah.
forced Kate to go above and beyond. And I hate to say crab in the barrel because she's not really a sad character, but it is like she wants what she wants, and she wants to say here. She's kind of like, this is me, this is my zone, and I'm not trying to leave that.
Yeah, it's interesting that with the both of the characters being twins, they're kind of very similar in the sense of the coddle and this kind of fatalistic view of their futures or what happens for them, and taking chances, and going out and doing it. And versus Randall, although he's not a birth child, Randall's always kind of been a person willing to take some chances, willing to step out
Hmm.
there and do it, versus these two who've always kind of been nurtured and coddled and rubbed, and trying to push them out. Randall was already taking the steps to go there. And so I think we'll see that next week as and we're going to see some conflict. It looks like in the previews between him and Deja about our boy Malik, and Malik clapping them cheeks and all those things. And so we're going to see what happens next week in the Randall part of the trilogy. And so let's go ahead and jump into Snowfall. Last week's episode was a part of a two-part episode of the series called The Iliad. And now I did not go to City College in Baltimore City, and we did not read the Iliad at Northwestern. But for those people who may not know, the Iliad is a ancient Greek epic poem traditionally attributed to Homer, and it's set during the Trojan War, during the 10-year siege of the city of Troy by a coalition of Greek states, and it tells of the battles and events during the weeks of a quarrel between the king uh, Agamemnon and the warrior Achilles. And so I know Calvin knew all of that. And so,
I've heard of it.
yeah, they do Latin at City, so they probably
We
read it.
do.
Yeah, and so um, and so I was trying to figure out last week's episode because it kind of just jumps into these particular stories, but we don't know who's doing the shooting. And so in the first 10 minutes of the drama, we see that Franklin and his girl Veronique, they're excitedly learning that they secured a downtown property that they've been wanting to buy. And with just a week to get some money to put it in the escrow, the couple they turned to Louis and Jerome for their portion of the buy-in, only to learn that Franklin's aunt and uncle weren't interested. And so we see this dynamic. Louis and Jerome, they've been beefing probably since season 3 of wanting to go out on their own. They want to do their own thing. And so, what did you think about this? Kind of like is Louis trying to get the upper hand on Franklin? What's the deal with this?
No, I mean, I don't think she's trying to get the upper hand, and they've been talking about this since, oh wow, this is five, probably season three, that
Yeah,
they don't want to continue to follow Franklin and what he's doing. They want to be part of it, but they don't want to just always take orders from him. They got their own plans and their own dreams. So, they kind of want to be like a franchise almost, as opposed to being completely under his umbrella. So no, I don't think there's any real beef. They just want to, branch out. And as we know, Franklin always has these big dreams. Everybody
right.
chip in and do this one big thing. And he doesn't consider that people want to branch off and do their own thing. They still want to be down. They still want to be cool, but they don't want to be under the umbrella. They want to franchise on their own.
Yeah, Frank, he won't let nobody go. That's his whole thing. He's still holding on to Lee. Every time Lee, he's been talking, keeping Lee in the game ever since the series began. Every year, Lee wants to get
Mhm.
out the game, and Franklin said, "Nah, yo, I still need you." Louis and Jerome, they've been trying to get their own piece. Nah, I need y'all to stay under me. And so, Franklin, yeah, sometimes you gotta let some of these people go and let the money flow. And so Franklin, he wants it all close, he wants it all under him. And so, as a result of them not falling in the line, Franklin, he still got to go out here and move these bricks. And so he meet with Teddy and Gustavo for the drop, and it gets violently interrupted when a van full of armored men, we don't know where these men come from, who sent them, they roll up and they start busting shots. And so Gustavo and Teddy, they're wounded, but all three of them get away. Teddy, he shoots the driver of the van. He jumps up in the car, bleeding half to death. He drives off. And Franklin and Gustavo, they jump in the whip and they run into the van and then they drive off. But the car gets smashed up and they walk with two duffel bags full of millions of dollars on their back. And they walking up in the hood with some Franklins hanging out the suitcase and whatnot. And so they find a phone booth and they call and let Jerome know what's going on. But before Jerome, who's having lunch with, Louis and Veronique and Sissy, could find out what happened or where Franklin was, another van rolls up and starts busting shots at the restaurant, at the outdoor seating. And although some innocent lunchgoers were killed, Louis, Jerome, and Sissy and Veronique, they miraculously didn't get a scratch, which, that's what happens when you're shooting Uzis in LA. People know how to jump and get out the way. And so they get away without getting a scratch. Although, cops stopped them. They trying to leave the scenes. Cops stopped them. They had to call in the get out of jail free card from the Redbone cop. And so, who sent these people to bust these shots? I know Peaches is not working today because Peaches called out sick, and Peaches been sniffing the last couple of weeks, had a little sniffle, and so who's sending these people to bust these shots?
It's so crazy because this was definitely calculated. They hit
Right,
three spots that they were going to be at. And it's like, who is sending these people? Because no one was supposed to know about the meeting between Gustavo and Franklin and Reed. Who would have known that they were at dinner. They were at lunch, rather. Sissy and the crew was at lunch.
right.
And then Lee is going to buy guns. Who knows this stuff? Like, it has to be someone on the inside. I'm going to tell you now, I could be wrong. The only person I could think of is Reed. We talked about last week how Reed wants everyone to follow behind him. And maybe he set it up and didn't intend to get banged up in his chest, but
Right.
maybe he set it up. it's someone from the inside, and I have no idea who it could be, but it is crazy. However, with that being stated, this is one of the better episodes of the season because now we're getting some action. It also reminds you of like those movies that come out. I think there was a movie may have been called Run, but you know where they're spending the whole movie trying to duck out the
Right,
villain,
right, right,
hiding in different places and all. And this was pretty good with Franklin and Gustavo trying to, get away from the essays with the money, hiding in the crawl
right.
space. Pretty good episode. But yeah, man, I want to know who did it too. And Lee and them got one, took his mask off, but they don't know who he is, didn't have any ID on him. So it was really calculated. And whoever did it was pretty smart too.
Right. I'm
And
trying
they
to
had
think.
some ammunition.
Right, and I'm trying to think. Okay, was it Lee? Was it this this agent that Sissy talking to? Maybe she got. Maybe he got the drop. I don't know, but somebody knows all the plans and what they're doing because mysteriously these vans are jumping out, busting shots at people, and so it's funny you mentioned Franklin and Gustavo, and so they're trying to get away from the essays, and this kind of reminded me. This scene kind of reminded me of Pulp Fiction. And so, after a wild, intense goose chase, they find a house to hide under. Then they hide the bags of cash. And when the coast is clear, they break into what seems like an abandoned house and try to call Jerome and the family again. And while their backs are turned, a weird old white man snuck up on them and shoots them with a tranquilizer gun. All of a sudden, a couple minutes later, Gustavo and Franklin, they pass out, and when they wake up, they're in the cage next to a caged tiger. Kind of like when Bruce Willis and Ving Rhames, they got into the accident, and the guy dragged them down to the basement of the shop, and they
With,
had
with the
Ving
gimp.
Rhames with the gimp.
With the gimp.
Yeah! Yeah, get him! Yeah! I'm like, yo, you about to violate Franklin or something? And so, yeah, this is just, it's real weird. And I was trying to think, okay, how does this relate to the Iliad? I can't. Did you think that when you saw the title? Did you try to put the two together?
Nah, I never try to put them titles
Okay,
together.
I'm
I
the only
learned
dum dum that
I
did
learned
that.
from I learned from the Shah. I learned from the Shah that the titles will have
Excited to do
nothing to
nothing.
do with the episode.
And speaking
Absolutely
about
nothing to do
The
with the
Shy is
episode.
coming on pretty soon, and so we'll be seeing crazy storylines to talk about. And
We
so
will.
your boy Teddy, meanwhile, he's driven to an old informant's house, and she saves him and his arm. But it got freaky and weird and bloody, especially after old girl found the cocaine in Teddy's trunk. And so we kind of left with this open-ended thing of Franklin and Gustavo there in the cage next to a hungry tiger, excuse me. We got these bands of people with Uzis and vans rolling around shooting at the family and all of the crew, and we just don't know what's going to happen. So I thought it was a good
Well,
episode, but go ahead.
it was a good episode, but I know one thing: healthcare in America, even back then, was crazy because she charged him 250 grand to save his life. I'd have been like, you know what? I'm I got what you take this HMO because
Well, no copay.
good gracious.
No copay, and then she saw them bricks up in the trunk. She was like, "Yeah, I'm about to tax up a little bit more. I'm about to, move a
Mhm.
couple of these bricks." And so we're gonna see what happens with Franklin tonight. Franklin gonna have to be doing this thing to try to get out this cage with this tiger, and Veronique. She maybe it's her. Something about her, Calvin. I want to go on record as saying I don't trust her. We don't know
See,
nothing about her background, where she came from. I
see,
don't trust her.
the problem is that you talk about her, you don't find her as attractive as maybe you think she should be. So
It don't
you want
have
to
nothing
put
to,
something on her.
it don't have nothing to do with it. It don't have nothing to do with attractiveness. I just
Right.
she just she just showed up out the blue, and he up in love. She got allegedly pregnant. He ain't seen no sonogram. He ain't seen no positive pregnancy test. How you know? She could be lying. This back in the 80s. They used to lie all the time back in the 80s. I'm
Oh
pregnant.
man.
Yeah, come
So
on now.
one day I'm gonna tell you a story of how I got. One day I'll tell you a story.
I'll tell you mine's too.
Oh
Yeah, they
man,
used to lie back in the day about, yeah,
did they?
you did they? You ain't asked them, yo, show me the stick. You ain't had the stick back then to show them. You just had to take their word. She ain't show Franklin no stick. They got a
Bruh.
plus on it.
Oh,
Franklin
you
just
bring it
taking her
back.
at her word.
You bringing back some not so good memories. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, man. So, hey Franklin, you better take it to the hospital, yo, and get the test done because I'm telling you, you don't know, and she be acting real flaky, like she got a lot of influence and all this stuff. I'm trying to. We're gonna see how this play out. If there's a mole in the family, it's her.
You
I'm gonna
got
go
her
ahead
as
and
the
put it out
mole?
there. I got her as the mole. I bet you a couple
Wow.
episodes she gonna be on the phone talking, whispering, and Franklin gonna come in and she gonna hurry up and get off the phone.
Wow. Okay.
I'm
Okay.
telling you, I'm gonna go out on a limb because she acting too courageous. She acting too like she a
Okay.
ride or die. You acting too ride or die because you know you got backup that's gonna come and save your life. So,
Okay. I hear you. I don't have her pegged as the mole, but
mm-hmm.
I okay, we'll
All
see.
right,
We'll
we're gonna
see.
see. We're
And
gonna see.
when it happens, we can say Garland told us first.
And for you brothers out there, make sure you see the stick. If they talk about it, tell them to show you proof. You
Bruh.
want to see the stick, you want to see the sonogram, you want to see it all. Don't
One
take nobody's word.
one day we need to do a broadcast about just some funny stories because, bruh, I got, oh my gosh, I got some, mm,
Oh
whew,
Lord.
I got some
Anyway, so
stories.
that is our recap of Snowfall, and This Is Us. Good episode of Snowfall tonight. Hey, on Thursday for my Atlanta fans, Atlanta season premieres a double episode tomorrow night, and so make sure you tune into that. I mean, you've been reading the reviews and kind of like the previews of the show is they're talking about this is going to be kind of like a very stunning opening, and so get your popcorn ready for that tomorrow. We had a nice little break. I always loved the Teddy Perkins episode last year when my man Darius went to buy the piano. If you haven't seen it, go to Hulu. Some great episodes. Last season was really kind of like top. And it's so funny. One of the ironic things of the series is we never see Paperboy rap. I think we only seen Paperboy rap once, and that was like the little video in the first season with for the song Paperboy. Outside of that, Paperboy doesn't rap.
Hey, you know what? First of all, shout out to Atlanta. Alligator Man is my favorite with Cat Williams.
Alligator.
It's one of my favorite episodes. But shout out to Atlanta because you said last season, but remember last season was about 3 years ago because
Oh
Donald
yeah.
Glover actually did take off so he could play Han
Right.
Solo.
Right.
And I'm sorry, so he could play Lando Calrissian in Solo.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been off ever since then. But since then, every last one of them has flourished in their careers.
Right.
Zazie Beats has done some things. Of course, Paperboy, we've seen him just in
Henry
random
Tyree.
movies,
Yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just random movies and major roles in random movies, not just a
Mm-hmm.
supporting role. And of course, I don't even remember his name, but
Lakeith
of course,
Stanfield.
Lakeith Stanfield has been in damn near everything.
Yeah, as a
Also,
matter of fact, he's nominated for a Oscar this year. I think it is for Judas and the Black Messiah.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
They
he
just
played
I
distinction.
mean they've been and Zazie and Lakeith were both in the Western movie that was
Yeah,
really
yeah,
really
that's
good.
right. Harder they come, the harder they fall.
Yeah,
I
they
said
were
the
really,
harder they come.
really good. So shout out to the cast of Atlanta for
Yeah,
flourishing, even though the show was on hiatus. I mean, so shout out to them, and it's good to have it back. It's been a while. I think a lot of people, especially me, waiting for it to see the double episode. So yeah, shout out to that. Also, shout out to my middle baby, Autumn. Autumn is
yes, my niece.
26 today. 26, bro.
You old,
My
bro.
son will be 22 and all. Like, yo, they
Wow.
getting old. Their dad isn't aging, but the kids are getting old. Before you know it, they'll be past me. They'll be past me, and I'll just have to
Wow.
ask them for money, So,
There you go. Better be nice to them because they might be changing your pull up one day.
oh man, don't
I
even
keep
get
on
me
reminding
started.
my children, like, look, I'm trying to be nice because I might need you to kind of get me to the porty potty.
Hey, or feed me and wipe my mouth. Just don't
Yeah,
have me
yeah.
walking around with stuff all on my
Right.
chin and my on my
Don't have me
shirt and
wearing the
stuff.
same pants and shirt every day.
Exactly, exactly. So,
Hey man, I got a
but
closing thought.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's something, man. I've been trying to figure this out, and people really want us to know this thing, but I don't understand it. And maybe the co-host can explain this to me. It's this thing. Hold up, did I mess it up? Let me go back. It's this thing. It's called Wordle, and everybody thinks we want to know your Wordle score. What is this? Is this supposed to show us that you know words? I don't. I don't get it. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the 5/6. What I'm. I mean, I follow my man, and I never say like or I laugh at. I don't because I don't understand it. I just like okay, Calvin's got his Wordle up,
it
and so for us non-Wordle people, please stop posting y'all word. I'm not. No, y'all not gonna make me download this Wordle. This remind me of Words with Friends. Remember we used to play Words with Friends?
mhm.
Yeah, don't
Well, but this is the beauty of it. You
Wordle.
don't download it. You just log on to it. It's on. It's not an app. It's online. You just
Okay,
log on to it. It's
okay.
once a day. There are games that you can play every day or all day, but this Wordle is just
Mm-hmm.
once a day. I play it in the morning. It kind of just gets the brain moving. All you're trying to do is guess a 5 letter word. Those blocks and all that you see, it's not for Wordle people. It's for the people that play to let you know how long it took me to guess this word or if I guessed it at all. So we don't care if y'all don't like it because it ain't for y'all. The post ain't for y'all. It's for the other Wordle
It's
people.
for the other
That's all it's
Wordle
for.
people.
It's
Oh,
for
so
the other Wordle
y'all
people.
got a secret society of
Yeah,
Wordles.
basically, it's a cult. It's a cult. It's not so secret, but it is a cult. But you can join at any time. You don't even have to
Yes.
play every day. I just play every day. They got a whole bunch of different ones. They got a math one. They got a song one called Hurdle. I don't play none of that because it's too addictive. Just the one word a day,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't even play, more than once a day. So yeah, it's that simple. But it ain't for y'all. So you gonna tell us stop posting it? We'll tell you stop looking at it because it ain't for you anyway.
I can't
We don't
help.
understand.
It's all on my timeline every damn day in the morning. Nothing but Wordle results. Like, all right,
Hey
y'all
man,
Wordle people. Go ahead, man. I'm done.
I I got a final thought, and this is just about courtesy. So I had jury duty Monday, and
Mm-hmm.
jury duty is jury duty. But I went into the quiet room, and the quiet room, I went in there late. There was a lot of people in there, but there was this like little fake leather love seat thing under this little window that I slid in. It was, relaxing the first half of the day. I fell
Mm-hmm.
asleep on it, just chilling, minding my business, just chilling. The
Mm-hmm.
first of all, the quiet room might be called the get away from blacks room because it wasn't nothing but
But no
whites and
black.
Jews in there. But whatever. There's a few of us in there. So anyway, they call for lunch. I get up and go to lunch. I come back and this white chick, and I ain't gonna talk about how she looked, but this white chick was lounging in my love seat. I know it's not no assigned seats, but everybody else was in their assigned seats. So fine, I go sit somewhere else. But here's what got me. Another girl came over. There were two tables in front of the love seat.
Mm-hmm.
Another girl came over and asked the girl at the table who was sitting there when I was in the love seat and was still sitting there, was like, "Oh, can I sit here?" And this girl says, "Oh no, I think the girl that was sitting here before that went to lunch, she might come back and sit here." Why you ain't say that when this chick took my love seat?
Right.
So 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 So
Everybody knows same seats.
you pick and choose who gets the assigned seats. You didn't think I wanted my love seat back? And I was so mad. But then the girl that was sitting in it got up and went to the bathroom, and I was going to go ahead and slide in and steal it. But when I was laying at her, because I was looking at her real mean the whole time she was sitting there, her shirt was up and her pants was exposed, and she was rubbing her little dirty skin across my love seat. And I was like, I'm not going over there because I don't want to catch that. I'm so mad. Anyway, respect the seat, people. Respect the seat.
You ain't had no sanitizer, or you could have wiped off the seat and just went here and sat there.
I should have, but that would have taken too much time. And then,
Right.
like I said, I can't be fighting people because she'd have got the arguing. We'd have been, and then I'm in the courthouse. They wouldn't have had no problem locking me up.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I
Come on, man.
got a family
Same
to take
seats,
care of.
people. You know this. Same seats. Just it's like when I was going to the gym. This woman always used to be in the gym at the same time with me, and I always used the same machine. She knew one time I came over, she's like, "Oh, I know you always use this machine. Do you want it?" She happened to be on it one day. And so that was respect because she knows I use this machine. And I was like, "Oh, thank you. No, I'm good. Come on now. Stop with the taking the seats. Same seats."
Thank you. And remind me next week, I'm going to tell you about the gym thing, the gym and the circle of solitude that people like to destroy. Anyway, that's enough for today.
That's enough for today.
Hey,
Yes.
man. We want to thank everybody for joining us. And of course, we'll be back next Wednesday to discuss the next episode of the trilogy, which will be about Randall. And also
Right.
tonight's episode of Snowfall, we'll discuss next week to get you ready for next week's episode of Snowfall. So
Yeah,
until
Woody
then,
Katina, we see you next week.
we'll see. Yeah. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all. We
Katina, I'll
love
see you in a
y'all.
couple minutes. Anyway, this is All Things Black with Garland and Calvin. I'm Calvin. That guy's Garland. And we will see you all next week. See you
All
later.
right, bro.
All right, Garland. Have a good
Happy
one. Stay
weekend.
safe.
All right.